Hello everyone, my name is Hydra and welcome to the first official video where I'm actually using my voice to narrate. Today, I want to explain in depth how speed works without twisting your brain and making it seem complicated, because it's really not that bad once you understand. My goal is to help you understand how speed works so you know exactly how to build your characters. Now, to not waste your time, let's get straight into the video. Since you clicked on this video, I already assume you know what the speed stat is. The higher the number, the faster you go. What you might not know is that speed is not a whole number. The game will show you the whole number, but it's really a floating point number, which is a number with a fractional part. For example, my castress in game says she has 91 speed, but really she has 91.4 speed. So if you have both Sunday and Bronya sitting at 160 speed and wondering why Bronya goes before your Sunday, the fractional part might be the reason. Some of you might know that speed isn't what's used to directly determine characters' turn order. Turn order is determined by action value, and you might have seen this term in Apocalyptic Shadow. Action value is determined by this equation. Action value is equal to 10,000 divided by speed. Don't be frightened. Why this value is 10,000, I have no idea, it's just a constant number to determine turn order. The value you get from this equation means that for the character's next turn, they will take that amount of action value for their next turn. For example, my Hyacinth has roughly 209 speed in battle. 10,000 divided by 209 is equal to 47.84, which the game rounds to 48. What this number means is that for every turn Hyacinth takes, her next turn will be 48 action value away. Let's see this in practice. When I click on Hyacinth's next turn here, you'll see the action value is 48. Don't mind the gentle rain speed buff, as I will talk about how speed percentage works later in this video. Action value will be subtracted as a character gets closer to their turn. Once it hits 0, it's that character's turn. The enemy's next turn here is about 10 action value away, meaning once I use Hyacinth's skill, the enemy will take their turn, meaning Hyacinth's action value is reduced to 38. And boom, Hyacinth's action value is 39. I believe the value here is 39 because the enemy's actual action value is not 10, but rather ranging from 9.1 to 9.7. Let me explain. I think action value is rounded to the greatest whole number, so whether the number be 38.1 or 38.9, the number is always rounded to 39. For the exact calculation here, my Hyacinth has exactly 203.03 speed. If I add the 6% buff, which I'll go over later, my Hyacinth has 209.63 speed in battle. So the action value here is calculated to be 47.703, which the game displays as 48. The enemy's action value, as I said before, is 10, but the actual action value could range from 9.1 to 9.9. Well, I could eliminate 9.8 and 9.9 because Hyacinth's action value subtracted by 9.8 or 9.9 is less than 38. So my guess is that the enemy's actual action value ranges between 9.1 to 9.7. Any number subtracted here ranges from 38.003 to 38.603, which is the reason my Hyacinth action value here says 39 instead of 38. This is just my guess, and let me know if this is just misinformation. Otherwise, I'll just stick with this. Away from that side tangent, this process repeats until the character's next turn, or their action value reaches 0, which will bring us to the beginning of Hyacinth's next turn of 48. Now, what does it mean to have your speed increase by X%? So, what does the gentle rain buff that increases your speed by 6% actually do? Before, I said my Hyacinth's total speed is 203.03. Shouldn't 6% of that be 12.1818? So the total speed should be 215.2118. Well, the 6% doesn't apply to the character's total speed, but rather the character's base speed, which is the speed before any speed buffs, which you can see here. Hyacinth's base speed is 110, and 6% of that is 6.6. Add that to your character's total speed, which gives us the value we saw before, 209.63. Well, what if you have multiple speed buffs, like 2p speed, 2p speed? Well, add 6% plus 6% for a total of 12%. Multiply that by the base speed, and finally add that to the character's total speed. For example, let's use my Bronya, who has a base speed of 99, and she's using 2p speed for a total of 160.31 speed. First, let's add up all the speed substats and main stats to our total speed. So 99 plus 2 plus 9.5 plus 4.6 plus 25.03 from the speed boots plus 4 plus 4.3, which gives us 148.43 speed. Now for the relic sets buff, 99 times 12% is equal to 11.88. Now add that to the total speed, which gives us 160.31. I hope the numbers aren't getting too confusing, but I try to make it as simple as I can both verbally and visually. If you are enjoying this type of content, please consider subscribing and liking the video, as that will help this channel immensely. I hope to make more content like this to spread knowledge about the games you and I enjoy playing so we feel empowered when we know exactly how things work. Thank you for letting me get that shameless plug, and let's continue with the video. You might have heard people suggest building certain characters to 160 speed to get at least 4 actions within the first 2 cycles. Why is that? Well, first I have to explain to you how cycles work. In Memory of Chaos, the first cycle is always set at 150 action value. Every cycle after that has 100 action value, which may be why it feels like you're getting less turns within a cycle. To have multiple turns within the first cycle, you must ensure that the total action value is less than 150. So let's use Sparkle as an example, who's suggested to have over 160 speed. Let's say that you have 160.8 speed on Sparkle. The action value is calculated to be 62.18. She's guaranteed to have 2 turns within the first 0 cycle because 62.18 plus 62.18 is 124.36, which is less than 150 in the first cycle. Now the second cycle and every cycle after that is set to 100 action value. So to clear within the first 2 cycles, your character's action value must be less than 250 action value. So for Sparkle, that has 160.8 speed, she's able to go 4 times. For that calculation, 62.18 plus 62.18 plus 62.18 plus 62.18 is equal to 248.72, which is less than 250. Thus, anything over 160 speed should get you to have at least 4 turns in the first 2 cycles. So keep this in mind. To get X amount of turns and N cycles, make sure your action value times the amount of turns is less than 150 plus the nth cycle times 100. To show you what this means, to get 4 turns in 0 cycles, or within the first cycle, a character will need over 266.67 speed. If you want to see the calculation, here's what I've written in my notebook. Finally, I want to talk about Action Advance, because Action Advance is used quite a bit whether you're using Sunday, Bronya, Sparkle, Robin, the Von Wax set, Dance Dance Dance, etc. Action Advance is determined by this expression: the current action value subtracted by the original action value multiply action advance percentage. Let's use Sunday as an example, whose a skill action advance your characters by 100%. Here in this clip, Finan has 23 action value remaining until it's his turn. So the current action value is 23. His action value is determined by 10,000 divided by speed. So for me, his speed is 117, so his action value is 85.47. Since Sunday action advances by 100%, the multiplier is just 1. So 23 subtracted by 85.47 times 1 gives you negative 62.47. Anything in the negatives would just be considered 0 because anything that surpasses 0 means that it's their turn. So that's what a 100% advance looks like behind the scenes. So what about Sparkle? She advances 50% instead of 100%. So what's wrong here? Well, there isn't anything wrong, but just need some workaround. Let's use an example of Finan, Sunday, and Sparkle. My Finan has 117 speed, Sunday has 163, and my Sparkle has 160. So obviously my Sunday goes faster than Sparkle. Let's calculate their action value. Finan would have 85.47 action value, Sunday would have 61.35 action value, and Sparkle would have 62.5 action value. So my Sunday would advance my Finan like before by 100%. My Finance next turn will be 85 action value away. Then it's my Sparkle's turn to use her skill, and Finance next turn is now 42 to 43 action value away instead of immediately. Recall back to the expression. The current action value subtracted by the original action value multiplied by the action advance percentage. Well, using whole numbers, his current action value is 85. His original action value is 85. And the action advance percentage is 50%, or just 0.5. So 85 subtracted by half of 85 is 42.5, which means that his next turn is actually 42.5 action value away. How do you get around this? Well, to advance your characters to take immediate action, make sure that their current action value is less than or equal to 50% of their original action value. For example, in an archer comp, my archer has 107 speed, meaning that his action value is 93.45. When my Sparkle is about to use her skill, my archer's current action value is 32. We know he's going to take immediate action because 32 is less than 50% of 93.5. This calculation of action value is the same, whether you're using Von Whack, DDD, 4-piece Hackerspace, and other abilities. I hope I have explained everything well, and I hope everything was clear and I didn't spread any misinformation. I'm still a bit iffy about the whole rounding situation because I haven't really figured that out too precisely, but I think it's small enough that it shouldn't cause too much of a problem in game. Again, if you don't mind subscribing to this channel and liking the video, that would help a lot. And I have a lot of fun making this video and would like to make more, whether that be for Genshin, Zenless, Wuthering Waves, and even more Star Rail. You can always change your mind if you're not enjoying the content I plan to make. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.